Alrighty, traders. So what I want to do in today's video, I want to talk to you about what I believe is being one of the biggest things that's helped me through my trading career. And when it comes to the whole Trump and what I see with him and why is Trump so successful, you see, and when it comes down to you and your personal life and how you can adapt some of this mentality to really help you when it comes to, if your goal is to become a good trader or good investor in the markets, then we can have this mentality of a winner in your life. And that's what I want to share with you here in this video here. See, I've been thinking about right now when it comes to like this whole thing with the election and Trump and so on and so forth, right? And the big thing when it comes down to Trump and the election and stuff like that is one thing that you'll see here is success in anything takes time, right? And I think, unfortunately, a lot of people, they're looking for get the money now. And you may be there right now, right? And this is one thing I'm always really sort of helping and coaching and guiding my coaching clients, because that's the reason why I'm with my coaching clients every day for about an hour and a half, to make sure I coach them through things like this. If you're interested in becoming a coaching client, 2 spots left, link in the description. But the whole thing about the whole Trump thing, right, is I really want you to think about you and your journey this year, right, and last year and the year after. How much have you not made progress from not being patient enough and just sticking with the process, right? Doing the same thing over and over again. Unfortunately, a lot of people, when they're trading the markets, they're trading all these different approaches, so you're not really becoming really good, a master at one, right? Which takes time. And you think about the whole thing about with Trump. One of the biggest things that I really learned from Trump, if you read some of his books, right? If you understand how the reason why he's so successful, if you read his books and you look at the way he does things, right? Sometimes it takes years for him to get sweet revenge. And you know what? I guarantee you right now, Trump is saying, that's why you never mess with me, right? Because guess what? Look what happened right now, right? He won the election. But that took 4 years of what happened and you think about it, successful Trump president. He fought back and he became successful. But in between that, guess what was happening? There were so many bumps, right? There were so many bumps, there were so many things that setbacks. And unfortunately, if you're one of these people that is easily offended, right? If you're probably like 90% of the people who comment on my YouTube channel, who are little whingy whiny babies, right? This is not for you. But the whole thing, this is for you if you understand that success is about having a target. And then every day, understanding there's going to be bumps, there's going to be bruises, there's going to be setbacks, there's going to be doubts. Like, heck, it happens to me as well too, right? I'm human. I go through my doubts. I go through my setbacks. I go through my challenges. I go through my times where I'm just like, man, what is going on? Right? But it's those who have the mentality of, I've got to get back up. I've got to keep going. I've got to keep moving forward. Right? It's those who have that mentality end up winning. And I have always found that when it comes to and I revert the whole thing about trading. I've been trading markets now for 20 years. I've got a much better understanding about how the markets work, how the markets operate, how a good setup actually looks like. And it doesn't mean I'm not going to make mistakes, right? We put it this way. Every trader you see on the planet, I'm a really successful trader now. I do really well now. But it doesn't mean that 10-20% of the time I'm going to take some really dumb ass shit. It's like, oh man, what the hell did I take that for, man? That was dumb, right? It doesn't mean that. It doesn't mean that, right? But what it means is that through my last 20 years of going through the markets, one of the things that has really kept me on the forefront of coming back, especially my first 5 or so years when I lost $250,000, the whole thing about that is I had a vision, and I want you to think about this for yourself, okay? If you are trading the markets right now, what's probably likely going to happen is your first few years of getting involved with the markets, what you're probably going through right now is you're probably buying a lot of courses, right? Because if you don't understand these markets on the deepest level, then what do? We want to go out there. We want to buy all these courses and education and understand, and that's good, right? That is good. But one thing that I've found is that we go down this massive rabbit hole, and we end up learning all this information. And again, this is just what we do, right? Because we're trying to learn about this thing called the markets, right? It's like charting analysis and technical analysis and different chart patterns and indicators and you name it, right? We go down this path, don't we? And what ends up happening is we end up getting confused. We end up not really becoming good at one thing, and it just becomes a difficult process, right? I understand, but one of the best things that I do say is that one thing that got me through my deepest, darkest time, and one of my darkest times in my personal trading was I was $250,000 in debt. I had to sell everything up, and me and my wife moved in with my father and mother-in-law. We were in a spare bedroom on the mattress on the floor, and I actually borrowed their laptop to start trading again. And I remember borrowing $5,000 from my father-in-law to actually start trading again. When I lost $250,000. Now that was $250,000 in debt. I borrowed that money. Okay, and I remember going to bed crying that next morning because I stayed up all night trading the futures markets, S&P 500, and so on and so forth. And I blew up 50% of their trading account, and I was just crying and crying and crying. And that was one of my lowest moments in my trading career, because I was many years into my trading career then. I did a lot of courses. I went to the seminars. I did all that sort of stuff. But I didn't know what I was doing wrong. And this is where for you guys, especially if you guys are in your 50s and your 60s, you can't afford to actually do that, right? That's the reason why you must invest really good money into someone to get the shortcut, right? There is a shortcut to success. And what is that? That's learning from someone, right? Like for me, when you get access to my coaching, right, you get what's taken me 20 years to figure out. Right? So I see a lot of people, they're going out there and they're trying to do it by themselves, but they're losing hundreds of thousands of dollars, and not only losing hundreds of thousands of dollars, but they're missing out on potentially millions of dollars of opportunities as the years go on, because they don't even know what to look for. They don't know how to approach the markets. So it's a double-edged sword. And the reason why I say that is because my turning point at that time is I borrowed some more money. I borrowed about another 10 grand at that time with my father-in-law. And then I went and actually got some coaching from a 7-figure trader, which means he makes more than $1 million a year. And he was the person, when I went to him, and he'd been trading the markets for 30 years, he's still my mentor to this day. But the last 10 years he's been my mentor. It's been my number one thing, has really helped me understand these markets a lot more. And then by applying that, it's been really amazing, right? So the whole thing that got me through by doing that, the whole purpose of bringing this back to what whole Trump is, that I always had a vision, right? At that time when I was down, I was out, $250,000 in debt. I just blew up 50% of my trading account again on my father-in-law's money, and I was down and out. And I said, I've got two things I can do here. One, I can quit, and I know where my life's going to be 10 years from now. Or secondly, I can just keep getting back up and just try to keep getting better, right? And I understand that it's on me, right? It's on me to make sure that I'm getting better at this thing. And I realized that I need actually some proper coaching, some proper guidance. If I actually want to become good at this thing, I need some proper coaching, proper guidance, not just some education, but give me some proper guidance from you. Right? Because there's one thing from education, like just learning, like what's the moving average and what's the trend and so on and so forth, to actually then putting that all together to be able to trade effectively in the markets, right? Risk management and so on and so forth. And so the whole thing that I really want to bring this back to you guys is that I see most people who trade the markets, and unfortunately most of you who are watching this video right now will not be watching my video next year, right? You can see my YouTube channel's been around, I think, since 2008, right? I think it's 2008, maybe 2007 is when I started my YouTube channel, right? So I've been trading, again, in total, been trading the markets for 20 years. But what kept me in the game so long was my vision. That, man, there's so many setbacks and it's hard and it's challenging. I'm getting so many setbacks. And then what ends up happening is after a while, if you have the thing like, and this is what I bring it back to the whole Trump thing, right? The whole Trump thing is we know there's a destination in 4 years or 5 years that's going to come. Like for example, like right now, we are going to arrive somewhere in 2030. What you do from now to then right, is going to determine for what you do, right? Are you going to quit on trading and just keep working a job? Well, guess what you're going to be in 5 years, right? Let's just be realistic here. If you keep trading, but you don't actually get the proper coaching and guidance and just keep doing the same shit over and over and over again, you're not actually getting any closer towards your goal, right? Just like Trump. What did Trump do? He went and got some guidance from his son about doing podcasts. So the whole reason why I wanted to do this video for you, because I just see that so many people, even to this year, that even if you are getting involved with the markets, you have no foundation. A lot of people I speak to, like I spoke to someone recently, he's a multiple 7-figure trader. He's struggling, he's not really doing well this year for 2 reasons. One, he doesn't really have a solid foundation of an approach that he's looking forward. And secondly, he doesn't even know what to look for in a high quality setup. And the thing is that if you don't even know what you're looking for in a high quality setup, there is literally, as you know, right, if you don't even know what to look for, there is literally hundreds of thousands of dollars in potential profits in trades that are going to pass you by, all because you don't even know what to actually look for. And see, that was the best. My mentor said, if you just understand how to really identify an amazing high quality setup and become confident in that by doing the repetitions, then you can see success in your own personal trading. So this message goes out to you guys that probably 90% of you, 95% of you watching this right now are probably having a really bad year. You really suck this year. Your account's in the red, not in the green, right? And things are struggling for you. Right. Firstly, I do say is that if you do want 2025 to be better and you want to be somewhere much better in 2030, then apply for my coaching program, right? Link in the description. You go over there, you can see my equity curve. So you can see my actual real equity curve. You can see what's in the actual Inner Circle coaching program and testimonials and who am I and all that sort of stuff. Again, link in the description there, right? But above all that, all I do say is that now is the time to not quit, right? Because guess what? Just like Trump, all this sort of stuff, right? You got to keep going. You got to keep moving forward. You got to keep pushing forward because you can do this, right? It's just going to take a bit of time and some coaching and some guidance from there for you there. But always have the vision. The biggest thing for me is that I always had the vision, even when I was going through all that hell that I was talking about. You always got to have that vision, right? That vision of where you want to go. That vision has to be in forefront of your mind of where you want to go. And I knew that if I quit trading after 3 or 4 or 5 years of that, me just going through that, all that stuff, $250,000 in net and father-in-law, so on and so forth, I knew that my life, 10 years, would be just a job, getting an okay wage, struggling. That's where I knew. But I knew that if I didn't quit, I'd get better. It may take me 10 years to figure this game out, but that in total, right? That 10-year plan of sticking at it and going to get help, not just sticking at it and doing the same shit over and over again, right? But sticking at it and then going to get some mentoring, some proper coaching, I knew that eventually I would get it. And guess what? I did. I started to get it. I started to see it. I started to set it. And then you start to build confidence because then you start to see the setups that do really well and the setups that don't. And guess what? As I said before, doesn't mean you're perfect, right? No, I've taken some dumbass shit trades this year as well too. I'm like, oh man, that was a dumbass shit trade, right? Doesn't mean we're perfect here. But the whole thing around this is that I really want you to take a reason why most of you guys won't be successful at trading is because you don't know how to take a few losses or a few hits and to keep moving forward, right? We know that whole Sylvester Stallone quote and so on and so forth. So I really want to encourage you guys, right? Like whatever you're down and out, you've got to have a vision. Where's your life going to be in 2030? We know that's going to come really quickly, right? 2030 is going to come really quickly. And whatever you do now and this year, whether you get the proper coaching and guidance, whether you actually you quit or not, just think about your journey where you're going to be in 2030, right? And from now, and there's going to be steps. The reason why I say 2030 because success in anything takes time. It takes the repetition, it takes coming back, and it takes all that sort of stuff. So, guys, if you are going through that sort of process where you're going through a bit of a hard time this year, and probably 90% of you guys watching this video, no doubt your account's in the red right now, then all I say is don't quit, but have a real hard look at yourself and say, where am I going wrong? The first thing I do say to you guys is that when you approach the market, are you approaching the market where you're actually having one of the biggest things that I see when I speak to people on the phone is that when they go into the market for trading, right? This is for trading, not investing. For you guys that are buying, hold silver and gold and all that sort of stuff, that's not what this is all about, right? This is all about for you guys that are trading the markets, right? You're getting in, you're getting out, you're looking for good opportunities, right? All I do say is this. When you go to the markets, do you know exactly the pattern you're looking for a high quality setup? Yes or no? And if the answer is no, then we have some big troubles, right? Because then you go into the market just looking at it and anything can look okay if you're just going based off your thoughts. Successful trading, your foundation is knowing exactly what to look for. Then we go to the markets to try to find that. That's your foundation to your success in the markets.